Hello everybody, oh bugger, knocked something off my desk, and welcome back to Battlefleet Gothic Armada. It's only been a day since the previous one, but I have a long-standing grudge I want to air. Now, I personally think that the Tau are bullshit. I think that they're too overpowered, and they're just to the point where it's fucking crap. I finished making a video yesterday, actually, when I was playing as a Tau and wiping out about 4 enemy opponents in a row. But I kind of deleted it because it just devolved into me angrily swearing. And I didn't think that was, very enjoyable to watch. But now, I've kind of had a thought, gone through it, and I want to see how overpowered the Tau really, really are. So we're going to do a little scientific test about how bullshit the Tau are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a round, set up it as normal, set everything to auto, everything to automatic, and I will sit here and read aloud to you from Betrayer by Aaron-Dembski-Bowden, and we will see if the Tau are so overpowered that I can literally not do anything and still win. Well, this is an assassination as the attacker. Interesting. I think I might not... my scheme might not work in this particular case. Well, now I'll give it a go. Why not? We'll give this a go. I think it will work. Auto deploy. Right, everybody's there. Ready. Okay. Now, we'll set everything off to attack. I'm assuming this is the Orc flagship. Order everyone to a target there. And put the auto engagement on. And off we go. Alright, now we will leave it. And occasionally I'll move the mouse over, but let's just ignore that now and read from Betrayer by Aaron-Dembski-Bowden. Prologue. Istvan free. Skane was the one to find the body. He stood knee-deep in the dead, next to the wrecked hull of a Land Raider battle tank, his armor stained black by the sins of the weapons he wielded. "Cargos," he voxed. His voice was tinny, laden with static. One of the enemy had caught him in the throat during the battle, and it had jarred his augmetic vocal cords. They'd need retuning once they returned to the Conqueror. "Cargos," he said again, across the tomb-quiet vox channel. "What?" His brother's reply was also flawed by static, but from more traditional vox corruption rather than a bionic trachea. "Track my locator rune," said Skane. "Get over here." "I'm busy. Look around you, Sergeant. You really think you're the only one that needs my help at the moment?" Skane didn't bother looking. He knew where he was and what he'd see. No, sorry, I'm trying to focus on the game at the same time. Here we go. He knew where he was and what he'd see. He was at the heart of it all, and the dead numbered in the thousands. Most here wore armor the green of shallow oceans, cracked and shattered by the treachery of their former kindred. These were Horus's former sons, betrayed by their brethren and slain for their disloyalty. Among their number, armor of blood-stained white stood out like pearls amongst seaweed. Too many world-eaters had fallen there. Though victory was undeniable, the city was dead in every direction, reduced to ash and rubble. A shadow fell across Skane, blocking out the weak sun as the Legio Audex Warhound passed with its rattle-clank stride, shaking the tortured ground. He lifted a hand to the war machine, receiving no acknowledgement beyond dull sunlight glinting on the Titan's Ursus Claw spear. It stalked onwards, splayed feet grinding cremite and bone, and twisted iron into the earth, its wolfish cockpit lowered as it hunted for life signs and scanner scents among the dead and dying. Just check back in. Okay, wow, the tower haven't OP1 yet. Huh. Interesting. Not as OP as I imagined. It is an assassination mission, and I don't think that the ships are that intelligent, but this is still interesting to know. The tower can be beaten if you don't give a fuck. See that we're doing this scientifically here. Okay, so that proves, round one, the Tau aren't so overpowered that I can literally just sit and read a book while doing an assassination mission. See, this is science. But anyway, we'll carry on. Stalk of dead and dying. Skane turned back to the ruined tank, kneeling by its front end where the minesweeper plow was decorated in scratches and gore. Body impaled on the dozer blade. His blade's spikes twitched in uneasy response, its fingers still scraping in futility across the metal. Skane wasn't sure how the pinned warrior still lived, and doubted the trembling, bleeding figure would survive being pulled from the blade. Nevertheless, he spoke again. "Cargos," he said for the third time. It took the apothecary several seconds to answer. "I told you, I'm busy. Fix your own damn throat, or shut up and wait until we're back aboard the ship." Skane disengaged the seals at the dying warrior's neck, lifting the helm free with a hiss of released air pressure. The relieved face was pale, blood-stained from the lips down, the eyes open and blind while the mouth worked in silent, wordless pain. "I've found Khan," Skane voxed. This time there was no delay in Cargos' reply. "I'm on my way." And that was the prologue. Oh, the ship was destroyed. Wow. It seems not giving a shit at all actually does something. Okay, well, quite interested. I still think the tower OP and bullshit, but at least we know that they're not so utterly broken that they'll just win no matter what. But we'll see. Part 1. Armatura, the War World. 1 year after the Istvan V massacre. Ooh. Data recovery as the defender. Well, this is really giving me missions that, if I'm honest, kind of require a bit of thought. Okay. Chapter 1. The Archpriest and the Sorcerer. Armatura Warp Song. Oh, I better pay attention to the game slightly. But anyway. The Perengurus Basilica was an armoured fortress jutting from the flagship's spinal battlements, commanding a view of the warp above the entire spread of the warship Fidelitas Lex. Alright. Montcar, auto-deploy. Which ship is the one with the data? Right, ready. Okay, it is this one. So, let's just go minimal effort. We won't bother, taking too much brain cells on this one. And we'll see if we can win, shall we? So, what I'm going to do is once again set it to auto-attack. Auto-engagement. Auto-engagement. 3,000 kilometers range for both ships. And gonna go. Right. Fidelitas Lex below. The cathedral itself would be a palace on any world, the size of a city sector in its own right, built in relative humility, as a modest echo of the imperial palace on Terra. Lorgar Aurelian was in the domed observatory atop the central spire. He stood calmly, this lord of the word-bearers, armoured but unarmed, while his sons prepared for war on the hundreds of decks beneath his feet. The ship was alive with chanting and shrieking, yet Lorgar was at peace, watching the mists of madness crashing against the dome. Brother, came a voice from behind. Lorgar's features, pale, godlike, and inked with golden scripture. Sorry. Oh! Oh. Interesting. Looks like I'm going to have to pay a bit of attention. Interesting. Still, what we need to do is go Seeker Missiles. Seeker Missiles. And Bomb. And that. And unpause. Ah, yes. Lorgar's features, pale, godlike, and inked with golden scripture, dawned into a warm smile. Breaking the serenity of his heavenward vigil, he turned, his boots echoing on the mosaic deck as he did so. An image of his brother Magnus greeted him. Oh, 1 second, just paying attention to the game. Wow. You kidding me? Look what paying half an ounce of attention is doing. I'm crushing this freaking ship. I am crushing it in its entirety. Wow, this is like auto attack, auto repair. Must admit, the graphics are better than normal. Did that last patch a couple days ago just tune up the graphics and I didn't notice? Anyway, let's go bomber. Right, send some bombers, go launching like that, and carry on. And we want you to go 3,000 kilometers attack range, and add some other hunter-seeker missiles. Hurry up! I'm finding the book more interesting than this. So there you go. Now, fly over its wreckage. Right. Right. Ship. Data required. Excellent. Seeker missiles. Auto repair. Gravitonic jump. Right. If Lorgar's skin was gold-inscribed marble, Magnus was the effigy of burnt copper. Both Primarchs were the reflections of their father, each of them made in the Emperor's image. But where Lorgar was like an aesthetically pleasing statue, etched with intricate runes and swirling mandalas, Magnus was more akin to a red-skinned heathen idol, a sun god's avatar of the sort worshipped by the primitive cultures in less enlightened ages. His skin was the red of flayed muscles, his armor a suit of golden scales edged in ivory, and with a bronze helm crested with a lion's mane of bristling scarlet hair. A fist-sized gem of volcanic glass, carved as a black scarab, held his cloak over one shoulder. Lorgar couldn't be certain where his brother was in truth, but the projected essence standing before him was perfect in every detail. Okay, well, we won, although I did have to put a little bit of effort in. Not too much, but a little bit. So, this is interesting. So they're not that OP that you can literally do auto attack on and leave them. But they are that OP that me literally reading a book, giving them some basic instructions, is enough for them to win. So we're going to do this again, one more time, just to see the level of what we can do. Right. Ship. Crew. I want upgraded marker drones. Light cruiser. Crew. We're going to do that one for cooldown times. An additional range of plus 3k units. Seeker missiles. That's always overpowered. Right. Fat Tau, your fleet can go back into battle. Magnus, he said, still smiling. Tell me you have made your decision. As ever, Lorgar wore his emotions as openly as any soul could, and his genuine gratitude at his brother's arrival shone from his eyes. Even so, Magnus ignored his brother's words. "I can hear your sons making ready for war," he said instead. Lorgar's smile didn't fade. "A sound to chill the blood, isn't it? They've changed so much since Isfahan." "As have you," said Magnus. Right, sorry, the game again. The word-bearer's smile faltered at last, and he looked back to the turbulent heavens. Strange. From Angron, those same words come as a compliment, or as close to one as our brother could ever manage. From you, though, they seem more of a curse. Magnus shrugged. Sorry, game again. The game keeps interrupting my dramatic readings. Auto attack, 3,000 kilometers range. Auto attack, 3,000 kilometers range. Auto attack, 3,000 kilometers range. And the same over here. Auto engagement, 3,000 kilometers range. Auto engagement, 3,000 kilometers range. Go. Right. And we'll leave them to their happy merriment. I'll check in on them, maybe launch a few Seeker missiles, see what effect that has on the thing. Oh, I suppose we should probably do some tactical things to aid these guys out. There we go. Anything else we can do for them? No, I think we'll leave them to it now. Right. Magnus shrugged. "I wouldn't trust Angron if he swore to me that water was wet. Our brother is blind and lost." "You underestimate him," said the word-bearer. "He too is changing. We all are. Ah, Magnus, you will see how my word-bearers make war now. Even a handful of years ago, I'd never have imagined it." Lorgar smiled once more, then shook his head. "But you came to tell me of your decision, did you not? Please, brother, speak it." The sorcerer gave a slight shake of his head. "First, tell me of Kelf. The great ocean's tides rage against the edges of the Kelf system, Lorgar, and death emulates from that place in sickening waves. Regrettable, but necessary." Magnus snorted, though Lorgar wasn't sure whether it was with amusement or derision. He turned his gaze back out to the roiling chaos of the warp, staring unblinkingly into its poisoned depths of manifest emotion. "I'm glad you came," he said at last. "I've missed you." Magnus gave a low, rumbling chuckle. "Am I to assume that Angron does not offer you the brotherly companionship you'd hoped for?" Lorgar's radiant smile dawned for a third time, but he didn't reply. Magnus came to stand next to his brother. The Crimson King's image gave off no scent, though his psychic projection made Lorgar's skin itch. Oh, action starting! Alright, action! Tell you what, we will go Tactical Cogitator. Oh no, I think it's more scientific if I don't do anything. Let's just leave it. Right, leave it. A Crimson King's image gave off no scent, though his psychic projection made Lorgar's skin itch. No matter how strong the word-bearer grew, merely standing close to Magnus was enough to set his teeth on edge. His taller sibling excluded a palatable force against the meat of his mind. Nothing physical, nothing so unsubtle. This was the raw power of a soul, felt in the moment when psychic minds met. Oh, looks like the orcs have the slight upper hand at the moment. I might step in to give these idiots some instructions. Right. tell you what, I'm only going to give myself 3 interruptions to fight. Although, I shouldn't have done anything. I should just let it run its course. That would be more scientific. Although the first time I didn't do anything and they lost. So I suppose that's a scientific analysis in itself. Right. Now let's leave that to go. Where are we? Magnus asked. Close to where we need to be, Lorgar replied. So it's a secret. A surprise, not a secret. There's a difference. Magnus hesitated. And where is Corferon? Where is Erebus? The word-bearer tilted his head to regard his brother again. All that death you sensed at Kelf? That is their work. Magnus grunted, non-committal. Ugh. The legions are at war, Lorgar pressed gently, and the galaxy burns. Accept it. In your seclusion in the Great Eye. Get back into the fight. You'll be part of Horus's plans. Sorry, checking the game in. You'll be part of Horus's plans, and you won't need to ask me what's happening, or where, or why. You'll know where the playing pieces stand on the board. You'll be moving them around yourself. How's the game going? Well, fucking shit. Wow. I don't even think I needed to intervene. That one time I intervened was pointless. That was just incredible. This is incredible. This is proof, scientific proof of how overpowered the Tau fleet actually are. But next time, I'm not going to touch anything at all. I'm going to let the auto-engagement completely handle it by itself, because I think I tarnished the results with my interaction. But we're gonna keep doing this scientific test one more time. Unless it's something not... I want to do a cruiser clash, because I think that's the more balanced of them. Because I don't think the AI is smart enough to do a convoy or something. But we'll see. Right. Blah 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 blah. Stupid Tau. Right. This time, you'll be moving them yourself. This time, Magnus was the one to break contact with his brother's sun-flecked eyes. Eyes as divine as his smile. You've still not decided, have you? Lorgar asked. I will. Before the end comes, at least. Go to battle. Lorgar did not press him any further. Instead, he just stood there, listening to the warp screaming against the observatory's warded glass, and the word-bearers continuing chanting in the decks far below. Tell me something, said Lorgar at last. Do you feel shame that Russ broke your back over his knee? Aurelian! Magnus used the name as a warning. Oh, Tau vs. Tau. OP bullshit vs. OP bullshit. Interesting. Interesting. Right, make the game fire up. Lorgar waved a pacifying hand and changed the subject. You once warned me not to rely so heavily on Erebus and Corferon. You're not gifted at following advice, Magnus pointed out. Lorgar laughed, a gentle exhalation through a smile. True, but you were right. Right, game, auto-deploy, defend the platforms, auto-engagement, 3,000 kilometers in range, auto-engagement, 3,000 kilometers in range, ready, go. Right, let's see how this does. Of course, said Magnus. Then, tell me of Argel Tal. He made no attempt to hide the intensity of his request. He is aboard the Conqueror as we speak, with his Vekaral Jal elite. Of my 3 closest sons, he alone remains devoted to my vision. And yet, brother, he is broken. As for the other 2, I love them for their pride and ambition, yet the warp curdles around them, ripe with the sickness of their souls. They play their own games now. Erebus plays them at the behest of the gods. He is a slave, believing himself king. and Corferon plays them for his own reasons. He paused, almost almost reticent to continue. And Ahriman, he is similar? How's the game going? Oh. Okay. Well, fighting is going on. Looks alright. Oh, interesting fighting. Oh, Tau vs. Tau. Oh, I'd be very inquisitive to see where this one ends up. Wait, I already lost a platform. How did I lose a platform, I wonder? Oh, one escort ship down, I suppose. Oh, it's the Seeker missiles. Interesting. Huh. Hadn't really thought of that. Well, they certainly do a substantial damage, even to the shield. Let's see what these Seeker missiles do. Sorry, I know my dramatic reading is going out the window, but I'm just inquisitive as to what the story is here. Oh, more Seeker missiles. Interesting. Anyway. Magnus rested a hand on his brother's shoulder, causing no tangible sensation as he did so. The ethereal hand hovered against the parchment bound to Lorgar's armor. He is. A sickening thing for us to share in common, isn't it? Lorgar nodded and released a soft breath. Not quite a sigh. I know I've been a coward at times. For all my passion, my zeal, I faltered at the final hurdle. I should never have sent Argyltau into the eye before I entered myself. Of all things, I regret that the most. Oh, looks like these Tau are going to win. I'm not going to intervene. Just going to let it play out. I am very intrigued, though. What's the auto-engagement doing? Auto-engagement is locked onto that one. Auto-engagement is locked onto this one. Oh, we might be able to get them. I'd be interested. I think these other Tau might win. Oh, no. The two ships are now converging. Interesting. Right. I regret that the most. He has become a haunted creature, plagued by the ghost of a single life he failed to save. Worse, he's caught between what he was and what he is destined to become. The ghostly hand lifted. No fate is sealed, Lorgar. Change it while you still can. I mean to do just that. He is the best and worst of my sons, the strongest and yet the most broken. I've learned a great deal from what the Pantheon has done to him. Oh, I think they're gonna win. I think they're gonna win. That's very interesting. Oh, this fight is quite intensive. Anyway, carrying on. Well, it looks like the other Tau are going to win this one. But the thing is, I'll relook at it in post, but I think Seeker missiles took out both the platforms before my ships could counter. Very intriguing. Although I am actually not really concerned that the Tau lost, because I don't give a crap, but this is all for science. Magnus turned his face to the great ocean's tides breaking over the ship's gala field. I dislike you referring to those sentient storms as a pantheon. Lorgar's sideward glance made his armor joints whir. One word is as good as any, Magnus, and I cannot change the truth of what they are. Words have power, Lorgar. I scarcely need to remind you of that. And stop gawping at me, brother, especially my eye. His smile didn't quite rob his words of their hardness, but Lorgar didn't obey. He stared openly at the constant metamorphosis of Magnus's visage, a warlord with a missing left eye, the wound sewn closed, a cyclops of one great orb in place of human eyes, a sorcerer with smooth flesh where his right eye hid. never existed. Where a right eye had never existed. Right. Oh, stuff it. It's for science. One more. If it's a cruiser clash, I'll record it. If not, I won't. Just because I really want to. I want to do a cruiser clash just to skin another balance out. When the word bearer finally spoke, his tone was completely devoid of the halting doubt that had marked his life for so many years before Ispan V. It's always unnerved me how much you look most like father. Magnus raised a scarred eyebrow. I? You were made to mirror him, Lorgar, not I. Ooh, cruiser clash, 500 points. Yeah. This is a good test, a good field test. Right. I did not mean physically. Lorgar brushed a scriptured hand across his equally tattooed face. I'm speaking of your facelessness. You are as powerful as him, and your face dances in the same way. It was Magnus's turn to chuckle. I'm not as strong as our father. Would that I was. Now we're fighting Space Marines, so we don't want to go Montcalm, we want to go auto deploy. We want to go, all of you want to go auto attack 3,000 kilometers. And auto attack 3,000 kilometers. Ready, go. Lorgar waved it aside. Have any of us ever even seen your real face? Did you ever have two eyes? Magnus tilted his crowned head. Didn't you hear the story of how I tore my right eye from its socket and sacrificed for knowledge? Magnus smiled. I like that one. It might be my favorite. I've heard them all, Lorgar replied, eager to learn more, but letting the matter drop. He knew too well that his copper-skinned brother could not be tempted into spilling such revelations when he didn't wish to. I need your counsel, Magnus. It's yours, as always, though I'll remind you of what happened the last time you asked for my advice, only to ignore it. How's it going? Oh, everyone seems to be going fine. The guys, they are choosing to run through an asteroid field because they're morons, but we'll see what happens. Right, carrying on. The word-bearer didn't laugh at the bitter jest. He didn't even smirk. You mean when I found out that father was lying to the entire Imperium, and that the universe is not the godless place he insists it is? Yes, I have a vague recollection of those events. That is one way of looking at it. Not the right way, of course. Lorgar shook his head. I have no wish and no need to debate such matters. What troubles me is something far closer to home. Watch, brother. This last month when he assaulted some meaningless throne royal world that Angron just couldn't leave in peace. His world eaters couldn't be recalled. They massacred the entire populace. He gestured with his empty hand, and a misty image formed before both brothers. Ooh, engagement. See how it's going. Oh, getting there. He gestured with his empty hand, and a misty image formed before both brothers. Magnus recognized it at once. A figure, armed with two heavy, brutal axes, and armored in stylized bronze, finery of a gladiator king. The figure threw back his scarred head, roaring in silence to the sky. Cables flashed from his skull as a mane of cybernetic dreadlocks. Most were plugged into the power feeds of his armor. As usual, several had torn free in the heat of the battle. He's dying, said Lorgar. Magnus looked at the silent image of Angron facing down a charging Chimera transport. It struck him and ground to a halt. The Primarch lifted it by the front ramming bars, flipping it onto its back. Its treads racing in futility the entire time. He looks in fine health to me. No, he's dying. The implants are killing him. Magnus turned to Lorgar. So? So? Said the word-bearer, stared at the image. I'm going to save him. Magnus didn't ask how. He was silent for a long moment, before cutting to the core. You have always been a fey creature, Lorgar. Sentiment guides you. You know the value of loyalty to those who have been loyal to you. I admire that, truly. But would the galaxy really miss Angron's tortured soul? Would his legion even mourn his loss? Is his life really worth saving? As his questions trailed away, Magnus turned his attention to the warp once more. He smiled. "Something amuses you, brother?" asked Lorgar, his golden eyes glinting in the warp's hateful light. The sorcerer nodded. "I have just sensed where we are." And I will just pause for a second to have a look back at what's going on. Okay, it appears I've lost 2 escort ships. Okay. But it appears that out of the 6 enemy ships, there's only 3 left, and I still have 4 of my ships. Interesting. The Fidelitas Lex burst into existence, ripping its way back into reality on shrieking engines. The wound that gave birth to it was a tear in space and time, pulsing in the darkness, bringing the impossibility of sound to the vacuum of space. A terrible screaming heralded the warship's arrival, and erratic, maddened laughter followed it through. The kinetic generators along the warship's belly and backbone groaned as they woke, charging the nothingness around their Lex, bringing its void shields into being. Along its flanks and battlements, domes opened up in a rattling ballet, and blast shields rifted from gun ports and cannons, as cannons jutted out into the void. The arcane drives gifting the vessel with the warp flight cycled down, relinquishing control to the ship's physical engines. 1 second. Oh, 1v1, 4v1. This is a foregone conclusion. Deep in the vessel's armoured prow, a man with 3 eyes and a bloody cough surrendered control of the Lex back to the Strategium, where hundreds of crew members were securing themselves into the thrones, bathed in the flashing lights of a battle station's alert. Smaller ships ripped into reality behind the Lex, filling its wake with hungry iron children, all bladed, all battlemented. All escorts and destroyers burned their engines harder and hotter than the battleships, powering ahead to establish the first semblance of attack formation. A shadow filled across the wound, a reflection of the Word-Bearer's flagship. It shivered through the material realm, a thing of crude martial beauty, scorched and scarred from fighting at the heart of every battle it had ever seen. Just as the Lex immediately readied for war, the Conqueror lit its shields and ran out its countless guns. Sorry, I was paying attention to the game for a second. Oh, I lost a ship. Oh, that's quite incredible. Huh. Carrying on. And ran out its countless guns. Unlike the Lex, it didn't slow to allow its armada to take shape in formation. The flagship of the World Eaters pushed ahead, forcing lesser ships to drift aside from its gathering momentum. An ugly ship, Magnus said, to match Angron's ugly soul. You underestimate him, Lorgar said again. From the water safety of the Basilica, the Thousand Suns Primarch watched the fleet manifesting above and below and in every direction besides. Ahead of them lay a world of pleasant skies, rocky grey continents and sparse deep oceans, turning in the lifting radiance of an ideal sun. A handful of small cities shone in the night, their cobweb of linked light forming the unmistakable image of civilization, an image graven on the human mind ever since mankind's first voidnaught saw old Earth from the cold comfort of low orbit. Oh, and we won. Fucking brilliant. That right fucking there, proves my point. In an entire vacuum, I hit auto attack for everything. I didn't touch it once aside to move the camera around, and the Tau fleet won. And this is just on normal difficulty. I'd love to see what the Tau fucking OP shit would do on easy or fucking, difficult. This right here, I have read 26 pages of Betrayer by Aaron-Dembski-Bowden, and in this whole time, all this has done is proven my point. The Tau fleet are 100% overpowered bullshit, and they need to be patched. Okay? I'm sorry, this isn't even me because I dislike the tower or any bullshit like that. This is from a pure gameplay standpoint. You have just watched, you have just witnessed what the tower fleet can do without anyone fucking guiding them. I didn't even touch anything that last round and they still won. This is utter bollocks, and it needs to be fixed. So guys, I love Battlefleet Gothic Armada. You know, you lovely developers out there. I love your game. I appreciate all the cool things you've done with it. I genuinely enjoy this game. So, believe me when I say with love and respect, when I say fix your fucking shit, guys. This is unacceptable. Alright, well, that's enough from me. So, thank you very much, audience, and I'll see you again another time.